wait for my slides here. I'm the CEO of PaddleHR. And at a high level, what we do is help employees within large businesses find new roles within that same company. So this is important because the number one reason why employees leave their job is a perceived lack of career growth opportunities. So 42% of employees that walk out the door cite that as the reason why they left. And this is a really expensive problem. The SHRM estimates that this costs about $29,000 per departure to replace someone. And internal hires actually require a lower salary than an external hire. So there's a 20% savings there as well. This is mostly because employees don't see career growth. We hear this all the time from our users. I'm sure you hear it from friends, family members, coworkers. But we were challenged to really kind of prove this assumption. And so we ran a little bit of a test. So we targeted employees of a large telecom, essentially with a Facebook ad, 2 different Facebook ads, one showing internal opportunities and one showing external opportunities. The internal opportunities saw a 5 times higher click-through rate, and the ads themselves got a lot of colorful commentary, a lot of angry faces and laughing faces and all sorts of different things. And so what this really showed us is that employees are really, really hungry for something like this. So at the core of Paddle, it's showing employees roles that they'd be well suited for across the organization. So how do we do this? It really starts with data. So we start with 370 million people's career histories. This gives us education, what they did before they were at the company, what they've been doing at the company, and we pair this with our clients' HR data. This gives us more structural elements like grades and seniority and business units and things like that. We apply machine learning to do 2 things. One is to classify job records. If you've ever worked with job data, you know it's very, very messy, so a classification aspect is really important. And then 2, we look for patterns between these roles. How many people move from A to B? What are the skills that are associated with A versus B, et cetera? And this allows us to make recommendations for individual employees. Why is this approach important? It's because career paths are really messy. Oops, I'll go back there for a second. Career paths are really messy. So this is an example of, once it comes on here, let me see. Oh, this is an example of one career path for a network analyst here. If it shows up, there we go. As you can see, it's not very linear. It's very, it's complicated. It's not very intuitive for an employee to understand how people are actually moving. This is real data from a company, by the way. And so when you're able to actually point people in the right direction, you go from just a few options, my manager's job, my coworker's job, to a dozen options that are really viable for that employee and interesting. So that powers our recommendations. We give these to employees on a regular basis. We show them those big full-time moves, but also some of the smaller moves they can make along the way, join a project, reach out to someone who has a job that you're interested in, et cetera. And this really allows the company to do a few things. One I've already sort of alluded to. It reduces attrition. The lack of career growth is really a top driver for attrition, but it also has a couple of other benefits that people don't really think about. One is the lack of career growth affects more some than others. So underrepresented women are 50% more likely to be passed over for a promotion than a white man. And so we see this all the time in organizations that there are winners and losers when it comes to career mobility, whether it be who you are as a person or which business unit you happen to work in, things like that. So this can really help improve the organization. And then the other piece of it is that internal hires perform better than external hires. And this has been proved out in academic studies. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that job-specific skills are the easiest to teach through a course. The values, the products, the customers, the back channels that exist within organizations, that takes time. And so internal hires bring that with them to the new role. So just a quick recap. The lack of career growth is a huge problem for enterprises. We're using 370 million people's career histories to power our AI internal mobility platform. And our clients include Fortune 1000s in North America and Europe. Thank you so much.